Hello guys, welcome back to the Unite Pieces channel. Today, we are excited to talk about the movie Homefront, an action thriller from 2013, starring the famous actor Jason Statham. The movie tells the story of a retired DEA agent who lives with his daughter Maddie in a small Louisiana town and lives peacefully. However, his peaceful life is threatened when he has to deal with drug dealers and people from the past who come back for revenge. So, let's get into the movie Homefront. At the beginning of the movie, we are shown with a scene where dozens of members of the outcast motorcycle gang come to a night spot, which is also actually their place of business. Outside the building, a team from the police is seen conducting surveillance on the outcast gangsters. The gang members then head to a room in the back, which turns out to be a drug manufacturing site. One of the gang members, named Dalton aka Phil Broker, calls someone to make a deal to send their package, which amounts to 50 boxes and will be carried by plane. Their leader, Danny, was happy that the package could be delivered quickly, but Jojo didn't seem to agree, as they had 20 members who could deliver the package safely. Although Jojo was the son of the gang leader, Danny preferred Dalton's plan. Just as they were about to start packing, suddenly dozens of police from the DEA came to ambush them. After they entered, other gang members tried to attack the police, but Dalton raised his hand to surrender. That's when Danny learned that Dalton was their traitor. Dalton aka Phil was a DEA member who disguised himself as a gang member to uncover drug manufacturing. Danny and his son then blew up their base and fled by car. Phil tried to chase them, followed by other police officers, until finally Phil dropped his motorcycle to stop their car. Danny was taken out of the car, while Jojo, who tried to resist, was asked to surrender after Phil shot him in the leg. However, Jojo did not heed his words, so the police there immediately shot him blindly. Danny witnessed firsthand as his son was shot dead by dozens of police, and he blamed Phil for Jojo's death, revealing that he would also kill Phil's daughter after his release. Here, Phil seemed sorry that Jojo had to die, but his commander argued that it was in accordance with operational standards, shooting Jojo for the safety of members. 2 years later at a school, a child named Maddie was seen playing, until 3 boys came and tried to bully her. Maddie asks for her hat back, but the fat boy pushes her, feeling that she's had enough of defending herself. Maddie then. On the other hand, Phil Broker with his short hair is seen working at his house. Then the school calls him to come over, and it turns out that Phil is Maddie's father. After arriving, he sees a psychiatrist named Susan, who says that Maddie is a great kid. When he was about to leave, the fat boy's parents still seemed to be upset, even though the sheriff came to calm them down. Then, Jimmy, the fat boy's father, came to try to hit Phil. However, he was easily knocked out by Phil. Although everything ended calmly, Phil was surprised by the temperament of the fat boy's mother, Cassie, who continued to instigate her husband. Not accepting this incident, Cassie intends to tell her brother, although Jimmy actually disagrees, because this is just a small problem. The scene moves to a house. Several young people are seen enjoying drugs, but soon a man named Gator Bodine arrives. Carrying a baseball bat, he tells them all to leave the place. Back to Phil, who is putting his daughter to bed. Instead of scolding her, he is proud of Maddie for standing up for herself, and not to be afraid of bullying. On the other hand, it turns out that Gator is Cassie's brother. Cassie asks for his help to teach Phil a lesson, and it is also revealed that Cassie is a drug addict. The next day, Phil returns to take Maddie to school, after which Phil comes to Jimmy's workplace and apologizes to him. Jimmy, who was surprised, then forgave him. On the way home, he stopped at a gas station to refuel his car, when suddenly 2 people came who deliberately provoked a commotion. At first Phil did not want to serve them, but they made his patience disappear. However, the man did not want to confess who exactly was the person who had sent them. At a location, it appeared that several people were mixing dangerous goods like the motorcycle gangs used to do, and it turned out that Cassie's brother was in charge of the place. On the way home, the sheriff stopped Phil's car. He talked about the case that happened at the gas station. He asked about Phil's identity, but Phil was reluctant to answer. The sheriff then warns him that he is watching him. Sometime later, when Phil and Maddie are riding, Gator suddenly comes to his house and leaks the tires of his car. He then breaks into the house to steal the doll, and takes the file from Phil the broker. At night, Maddie asks her father to look for the missing rabbit doll, while on the other hand, Gator reads the document he stole from Phil's house. It says there that Phil is a member of the outcast gang led by Danny. While Phil, he finds Maddie's doll, of which only the head remains. The next morning, a woman named Cheryl comes up to the Gator at his workshop. It is revealed that they are lovers. They apparently know what happened to Jojo and his father, and because of the document they finally find out that Phil is the culprit. Gator then shows Cheryl his drug production, but now he needs marketing, and Cheryl will be assigned to negotiate with Danny's lawyer. By handing over Phil broker, they have to distribute the drugs. In the evening, Cheryl gives the document to Danny's lawyer, to be forwarded directly to him. When the lawyer comes to the prison and shows the contents of the document, Danny immediately asks for the address of the person who is considered to have killed his protagonist. While driving Maddie to school, Phil and Maddie invite Cassie's fat son to come to their party. Cassie seems surprised to hear that, but she eventually accepts. At his house, Phil's partner Tito reminds him about Cassie's brother working as a boat mechanic, but in fact he is a drug dealer, so he asks Phil to be careful. He thinks something big might happen here. Cheryl then contacted the Gator and informed him that the outcast motorcycle gang was coming to town to meet him. At his house, Phil held Maddie's birthday party. Everyone was enthusiastic about this event. Meanwhile, the motorcycle gang led by Cyrus arrived and met with Cheryl. He asked Cheryl to show the location of Phil's brokerage house. However, Cheryl tried to make a deal first for the distribution of drugs. Unfortunately, Cyrus did not want to hear and did not care about it. He threatened Cheryl to immediately show the location or she would die. After the party was over, Gator came to Cassie's house and asked her to stay away from Phil, but Cassie seemed intoxicated and asked for more drugs from him. Jimmy asked Gator not to give drugs to Cassie anymore, but Gator blamed Jimmy because he couldn't take care of his sister properly. On the other hand, Phil's colleague in the DIA told him that Cheryl was a former member of the outcast motorcycle gang. She had been arrested twice for smuggling drugs to Danny in prison. In the morning, Phil comes to a cafe and finds Cheryl and Gator there. Phil learns that Gator has stolen his daughter's toys and cat, and he considers it a cowardly act. Phil warns him that if it happens again, then he will deal with him. Phil then came to Gadget's boat workshop, which was in the forest area. There he found the raw materials for making drugs. Even after entering the warehouse, he found many packages ready for distribution. Then Phil planned to burn this warehouse, which would be caused by an electric spark from their own lamp. When he came out, he saw his cat, but suddenly someone held him at gunpoint and hit Phil. Okay. When he woke up, he was held and beaten by Gator's men. Fortunately, Phil was trained in this situation and beat them even though his hands were tied. Phil immediately went back to his house to take precautionary measures. Elsewhere, Cyrus and his motorcycle gang members were already preparing to carry out their action. He met up with the Gator and Cheryl. They were asked to show Phil's house. Meanwhile, Tito came to Phil's house to evacuate his horses. Later, Tito seemed to hear that someone had broken into this house. Fortunately, he managed to knock out one of them and immediately ran to press the car horn to warn Phil. Phil took Maddie downstairs and told her to call 911. Meanwhile, Phil got his gun ready. While Maddie was trying to call 911, there were criminals passing nearby. They tried to break in. Luckily, Phil shot them right away. Meanwhile, Maddie tried to run into the woods chased by Cyrus' men. When Phil tried to catch up while defeating the enemy, suddenly Cyrus arrived, so there was a fight between them. While Maddie ends up being taken away by Cheryl in her boat. Fortunately, Maddie has her father's cell phone. As usual, the sheriff and other police come to Bill's house after all that happened. The injured Tito was fortunately saved. Phil asked the police to track down his cell phone, while Gator sent Cheryl to his workshop. Maddie told Phil that she was in a warehouse, and immediately Phil used a police car to go there. Cheryl, who returns with Maddie, is blamed by the Gator. Suddenly, Cassie and Jimmy arrive, and Cassie suspects the Gator is involved in something, until she suddenly hears a child's voice in the warehouse, and when she turns on the light, the trap set by Phil activates and sets the whole warehouse on fire. Gator, in his frustration, accidentally shoots his own sister. He immediately runs away with Maddie, Phil, who arrives, trying to chase him. In the next scene, Gator's car is stopped on a bridge, while the police car brought by Phil is overturned. When Gator is about to shoot Phil, on the other side the sheriff is already aiming at him. Because of that, Phil gets up and beats him. Maddie and Cassie survive, and at the end of the story, Phil visits Danny in jail, giving him the terror that he will wait for him to be free, and that's how the movie ends. What do you think of this movie? Please write your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, and support our channel by subscribing, so that we stay motivated to create more interesting content for you to enjoy. And until next time.